Guys, we have got a lot to discuss about this movie, so let's just jump right into that review. So, I know a lot of you are wondering what I thought about the movie. Some of you know I never really liked Tom Holland's portrayal of Spider-Man because I feel like he didn't really have any consequences and he just didn't feel true to the character because he felt more like Iron Man's sidekick instead of Spider-Man himself.
I prefer Iron Man Jr. That's what I'm going.
But let me tell you, Tom Holland, man, you blew it out the water, my guy. You blew it out the water. Man, I did not expect this movie to be that good, but let me tell you, this movie was way better than I thought it would be. Tom Holland, after watching this movie, I actually feel comfortable calling Tom Holland Spider-Man. Before, I never felt comfortable calling him that. I always thought he didn't feel like Spider-Man. He felt like another character who had the name of Spider-Man, but he never really acted that way. He felt more like I said, he felt more like an Iron Man sidekick. But this film, once we got midway through to the film, I just thought this movie was definitely a Spider-Man movie. It really felt like that. Tom Holland's acting was phenomenal. This is a non-spoiler review, so I'm not gonna say anything else. I'm not gonna mention any other characters aside from the main ones that we see. Tom Holland did a phenomenal job. Zendaya did a phenomenal job. I don't remember his friend's name that plays Ned. He did a great job too. Oh my god, the villains. Oh, bro, Green Goblin stole this film. Green Goblin felt like the mastermind of everything, and this is what I've been telling people for years. Spider-Man's arch nemesis, it's not Venom, it's not Carnage, it's not Doc Ock, it's Green Goblin. How the Joker is to Batman, Green Goblin is that to Spider-Man. He is Spider-Man's most wicked foe. Yes, there was that comic line where Doc Ock took over Peter's body in the Superior Spider-Man issue. But remember, there was a part where Peter got his body back and he made a little joke. And in that same comic that he made a joke, the Green Goblin said, "It's you." Because he knew who it was. He knew it wasn't him originally when Doc Ock took his body, but he knows Spider-Man better than anybody else. So Green Goblin stole this film. Electro, phenomenal in this film. Flint Marko, Sandman. I had a few issues with him. And no, I had one big issue with him. And I'm gonna address that a little bit toward the end of this video. Alfred Molina as Dr. Octopus stole it. I mean, the villains were all great. All of them were great. The Lizard, he didn't really impact the movie too much, but he was okay, you know, he was alright. The best villains in this film, hands down, Green Goblin, Doc Ock, Electro. They all made the movie so incredible, but Green Goblin took it above and beyond. This Spider-Man movie, is it the best Spider-Man movie we've ever seen? I mean, you could really make a case, man. You could make a case for this. It's up there with the top 3 Spider-Man films of all time, which would be Spider-Man 2, then Into the Spider-Verse, and then this one is up there. I mean, if somebody were to tell me this is the best one to them, I couldn't argue it. Because, bro, it felt like Tom had so much consequences. And this is so true to the character. Every decision Spider-Man makes comes with a consequence. They let you know that from the very beginning of the film, Tom's gonna be facing consequences. You know why? Because when before he cast the spell, once everybody knew his identity, his friends suffered because they knew who he was. And that was the consequence. Not only was it his consequence, but it was his friends' consequences for just even knowing him. They let you know right out the gate, this movie is gonna be full of consequences. You're getting a true Spider-Man story here. And I love that. I thought that was phenomenal. The writing was great. The music was great. The pacing was incredible. The fight scenes were amazing. I mean, this movie had it all. This was a great Spider-Man film. And the only problem I had was that one little thing that I said was Sandman, so let me address it now. There was this part, I mean, is this a spoiler? I don't know, it might be kind of a spoiler. I think it's a little bit of a spoiler, so you guys can click off now if you're just here for the regular review. It's a little bit of a spoiler. Sandman, when he came back, and like I thought before, he did not die. He didn't die. When he came back, he was originally helping out Peter. He was originally helping him out, but there was a little confusion because that wasn't the Peter he knew. Sandman was helping him anyway. Then all of a sudden, toward like the middle of the film, not even the middle, after him and Peter fought who they fought, I'm not gonna say who it was, he just turned on him. Like, I didn't understand that. I guess because he wasn't sure which Peter it was, but he just turned on him out of nowhere. It felt a little weird to me, considering that him and Peter had that connection at the end of Spider-Man 3. So I was like, why is he turning on him all of a sudden? But I didn't understand that. I mean, I guess because he wanted to see his daughter, but still, like, to just automatically just become a villain like that, it felt like they kind of misunderstood Sandman and how he was written in Spider-Man 3. Honestly, that's how it felt to me. For me, that little part was kind of a miss with Sandman. A lot of character arcs do come to an end. A lot of questions we had were resolved, but again, that's gonna be on the spoiler review. Overall, guys, I mean, it was a great movie. It was a great movie. And one of the best things about this film was there was no talk of Iron Man. They had a little reference to Iron Man, but there was no talk of him, and I appreciated that so much because Spider-Man has always been a character that stands on his own 2 feet. The problem that I had with Tom's Spider-Man was he felt like a part of the MCU, not his own character. And Spider-Man is not supposed to feel like that. He's his own person who has his own problem, his own story. He is not a product of the Avengers. He's simply an addition. This film, there was no Avengers, it was just Spider-Man, and that's the way it should have been. None of the villains were villains for Iron Man, and then Spider-Man got in the way, so he had to deal with them. No, there was none of that. These were all Spider-Man villains coming after Spider-Man, and that's how that story should always feel. It should never feel like he's a product of the Avengers. It should never feel like he's a product of Tony Stark. Spider-Man is his own character, and he needs to be treated as such, and that's why this movie was so great to me. This movie, I loved it. I really loved it, guys. So for a rating, I would say this movie is a 9 out of 10. It was that one little issue I had with Sandman and a few other little problems I had here and there, but those are spoilers, so I'm gonna leave those in the spoiler section. But overall, guys, I give this movie a 9 out of 10. It was phenomenal. It was great. The character stole it, so it's hard to talk about this film without spoiling it, but I'm trying. I'm really trying, because there's a lot of things in this movie that you say one thing, it's a spoiler. So that's my review for it, guys. 9 out of 10. I loved it. Definitely go see it if you have not seen it. So make sure you guys leave a like, hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to share that video, because we're on that road to 1,000 subscribers, guys. So that's all I got. Tom, you did an amazing job, man. I could actually call you Spider-Man now. You did a great job.